You make it sound like so much work just to be up here. Oh no, we are not doing that again. Fuck bitch. Hold on.
got this chic skirt and
Hello. Hello. Hi, hi. I hope everyone's day's been going well. I got me some gamer subs. Pretty good stuff. I got the sour apple one. Really good. So we are caffeinating and hydrating. 2 for 1. Wahaha. Anyway, I would like to start out with the elephant in the room. With the new Twitch guidelines, I really don't like doing this. I really don't, because I am an avid lurker myself. But, with recent developments, if y'all just do like the little exclamation point lurk command, just so you don't get counted as bots. Because I truly don't know how the stuff is supposed to work. And I don't precisely know how they're doing things. But I don't want anyone to get banned by Twitch from my channel either. So if y'all can just do that, I'd appreciate it. Because I do appreciate you all. I do. And I don't want Twitch to do the things. At least on that front. Because I like hanging out with everybody. Even the people who are just going about their days just being just like, I'ma just listen to something in the background. Because again, I do that too. Quite avidly. So, yeah. Heck, even just a smiley face, if that's what you want to do. I will happily be just like sweet. But yeah. There's that. Got that out of the way. So, the agenda for today's stream. We are going to be reading more of that time I got drunk and needed a love potion at a werewolf. In Felix's perspective, this chapter. I have not read ahead. I feel like I need to confirm this every time, so I do not know what's going on. It is not sponsored. We are just reading the book for the funny ha-has and because it's funny. And I'm enjoying reading it and reacting with you guys as well. We are also going to be doing the Boop chat again today. And yeah, we're gonna have fun. We're gonna have all the fun. Wahaha. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be great. So, lots of stuff going on, lots of good stuff, and we're gonna have a lot of fun. So, with that being said, I'm gonna switch over screens here. Hey, Diggs. Once again, I ask you to use your mental theater. Once again, because I don't have a book asset. We go by D&D rules over here when it comes to stuff I don't have assets for. So we're gonna use our imagination again, okay? Oh my goodness. And we're gonna pretend I am holding a book. Ooh, jazz hand. Anyways, we are going to be reading more of the story. So, it's gonna be fun, and then we're gonna do the thing. It's gonna be great. Chapter 3, wahaha. I'm also going to poison myself with the mute button for the music. I am watching it. No ads shall come and get me. Wahaha. Alright. Chapter 3 in Felix's perspective this time instead of Reese. May I help you, sir? No, we aren't doing this. Hold on. I gotta manage the flu. Hey Diggs, can you do me a favor and remind me in like 20 minutes to get the flu out of his timeout? Please and thank you. Alright. Back to reading. That was disastrous. I'm a giant fucking idiot. It wasn't bad enough that I'd frightened her into fainting, then prowled around her home like a stalker. I'd also managed to disgrace myself in front of her. The only saving factor was that I was able to run for the hills before I destroyed her outhouse. Damn sensitive stomach, damn cheese, and milk in all its evil forms. I slumped back into my cot, sighing. The customary low crash of waves on the ship's hull did nothing to soothe my fears. My behavior wasn't like a stalker. I was one, even with her scent still fresh on my nose. It pained me physically not to run straight back to her home, especially when I thought about that ghoul chasing her. With Maiva dead and Volsog's gates destroyed, it wasn't too surprising to see any manner of demons popping up closer to human settlements. Hell, I and my crew made stead. Not that it made me any less angry. I should have gone back and made sure I shredded the damn ghouls to bits. Those mindless pests were not much of a threat to other demons, but they could easily kill a human. Ideas of sneaking back to her farm just to check on her made sleeping through the night impossible. Frustrated, I turned to my side and tried to force myself to sleep. But the moment my eyes closed, Bree's image burned in my mind, and I was back in her living room. Back where the air smelled of coffee and lavender and her. I must have spent hours pacing around her house before I gave in to temptation and broke inside. At first, I'd managed to lie to her and say it was just a small peek at how she lived. Then when my feet carried me well past peaking range, it became a matter of her safety. What kind of mate would I be if I didn't check my lamb's home for intruders, aside from me? Aside from me. He is the only intruder allowed, apparently. A terrible one. That's what. Not that it mattered. I'd have told myself any nonsense to justify easing my obsession. Even just a little. So I lied to myself. Then I admired her collection of skillfully knitted ornaments. Instead of waiting outside... Ah! I lied to myself. Hold up. I lost my track. So I lied to myself when I admired her collection of skillfully knitted ornaments. Instead of waiting outside like I should have, I lied to myself. Then I pored over her book collection instead of looking for intruders. He read the books. He read the books. And I lied to myself when I began clanging pots together so she'd wake up and speak to me instead of just making her breakfast. So burning it wasn't the initial plan. And neither was practically foaming at the mouth anytime she spoke. He's down so bad. He is down so bad. Next time I'll be calm. Probably another lie, but a man could hope. Next time, I want to see the way her nose scrunches up when she's annoyed. Get her riled up about something silly so she forgets herself and... He is so down bad! Oh my goodness. I doubted she even noticed she did it. So busy trying to snatch the book from my hands to notice how she grabbed onto my arm for her leverage as she hopped up. The warmth of her hand on my arm was almost as intoxicating as the way she bit her lip in concentration. Each little useless jump pushed more of her dark skin against mine. more of her scent in my nose until I grew mad enough to pin her against the bookshelf. The gods, the look of desire in her big brown eyes was so beautiful. I almost dropped to my knees and prayed for it. If it wasn't for that damn love potion, would she have let me? The mere thought of it had me jumping out of the cot to resume my aggravated pacing. There had to be a way to convince her that I was her mate. How humans, or any other creature for that matter, went their whole lives without the rules of a fated mate was beyond me. How could they pick someone to settle down with if there was no guarantee it would work? Well, Felix, it is called trial and error. Humans kind of go that way because life be lifing, and sometimes the vibes do not be vibing, and sometimes stuff just changes. Yep. Wise words. I'm grabbing a drink real quick. That is how. That is how. Madness. The divorce rates must be in... The divorce rates must be insane. He's not wrong. He is not wrong. It would have been so much easier if she were a werewolf. One look at me and Bree would know exactly who she belonged to. She could be if I bit her. I don't think she'll take too kindly to that. No, I shook my head, banishing the evil thought. Turning someone who without their permission was a taboo, even I wasn't desperate enough to cross. She could end up hating me for it. Or she wouldn't. Maybe the call would be just as strong for her. Maybe she'd greet me with open arms. Oh my freaking god. Okay, so the next couple of lines I'm not gonna read. Because I have a feeling I will get in trouble for those. Those are a little bit too spicy to read. Apparently this is a spicier chapter than I thought. We're just skipping a couple of paragraphs because I can't read these on stream. Baraku, the captain's scream brought me back to reality. Our ship's captain, Usha, appeared to be in another one of her fits. Several of my crew members snickered as the enraged woman pounded on the door for another one of the private rooms. With our co-captain, Cinnamon, gone to live on her farm, Usha was the only human left on the ship. Yet she possessed a fighting demeanor that left her more than capable of herding around a full crew of demons. That and a vicious right hook. The last fool that tried his luck with her patients nursed a black eye for a week. Feathers were tangled throughout her dark red mane, courtesy of the terrified chicken she held in one arm. Baraku, open this door. How many times do I have to tell you to stop stealing animals? So they have a klepto on the ship too. Oh my goodness. Loud shuffling followed by a bad noise sounded off behind the door. There was no animals in. There are no animals in here. Don't lie to me, Baraku. She screamed again. These accusations are false. I stole no goats. Usha roared in anger and threw the chicken in my arms. Hold this, she snapped. Usha backed up from the door before shimming up her long sleeves. Then, with a snarl, she kicked the door open. There, standing hunched over 3 pygmy goats, was the orc in question. His dark reddish purple skin was littered with minor scratches, and his long dark hair held even more hair feathers than Usha. A small white kitten batted at the ruby dangles of his earrings. Piles of hay littered the floor, along with at least 10 different animals. How Baraku managed to smuggle all of them in here without notice was beyond me. So when it came to his obsession with small creatures, anything was possible. A goose honked, then ran past the seething captain, and darted up the stairs to freedom. Baraku hunched closer around the pygmy goats. This isn't what it looks like! Growling low, Usha buried her face in her hands. I agreed to let you have 1 pet on the ship. Why do I see 12? They needed a home! The captain's hands clenched in front of her in a strangling motion. Did they need a home, or did you kidnap them from a farm? Baraku, whose mouth opened but no words came out. He glanced at me, eyes pleading, but I shook my head. Even for him, this was excessive. Pick 1. Usha demanded. The orc fidgeted and looked around at his collection. I can't just pick 1. Her eyes narrowed, and she crossed her arms over her chest. You can pick 1, or I call Kiki, and let her pick 1 too. Baraku gasped. You wouldn't. Usha brought a hand to the side of her mouth and let out a long, whooping noise. Baraku, who panicked and frantically gathered up creatures in his arms. The telltale sound of paws thudded across above deck, making their way to the staircase. Wait, we can sort this out, he pleaded. The crew and I backed against the walls of the hallway as Kiki, Usha's pet hyena, lopped her way down the steps. Upon seeing the menagerie of prey, the beast licked her chops and ran forward. Baraku screeched and held up the small kitten. Rebecca! I picked Rebecca! Call her off! Usha held up a hand and Kiki skated to a halt at her side. Return the rest of the animals or we eat them. Apologize to the farmers while you're at it. They're already having a hard enough time adjusting to our presence without adding thievery on top of it. Chest heaving, Baraku slumped to the floor, cradling his new kitten. The tiny creature paid no mind to the stress of her master and resumed swatting at his earrings. I need a drink, Usha said, leaving Baraku to sort out his mess. I released the scared chicken and followed her upstairs. You know it's barely morning, right? She waved me off and made a beeline for the barrels of meat stashed in the captain's quarters and filled up a jug. I'll remember to be properly scandalized when it's not the ass crack of dawn. Usha poured us both a glass and sank into the plush leather chair behind her desk. With a shrug, I took a seat on the couch and drank. Gods knew I needed it. So, she began swirling her glass. I hear congratulations are in order. You imprinted, right? I downed the glass without a word. Damn, that bad? What did she do? Kick you in the nuts? Worse, I muttered. She spilled a love potion on me and now doesn't believe I've actually imprinted. Usha poured me another drink. How do you know if you did? Seems like an awfully good coincidence. Awfully big coincidence to imprint the same time you get smacked with a love spell. Not you two, I groaned. I mean, she do have a point. She do have a point. She held up her hands in surrender. I'm just saying, if I was in her shoes, I'd be hesitant too. This is why every species should just imprint and be done with it. It's not the love potion. I've been cursed before by Maiva's magic, and this is different. How? Damn it all, how do you explain something as bone deep as an imprint to a creature that doesn't have a comparison to it? It's like a curse makes you feel like you're far too drunk. You stumble around to not sure of your actions, and your mind feels hazy. You know something isn't right, but there's not much you can do about it. While yes, I do feel the small haze of the love potion, it's secondary. Minuscule in comparison to the starving sensation I get now that I'm away from her. So I didn't want to admit that the love potion was probably making the call to claim my mate much worse. I'd only seen one other werewolf go through the process, but he wasn't this frantic. Each passing second was a gnawing torture at the edge of my conscience. If I wasn't careful the next time I saw my lamb, I'd probably scare her off for good. Usha rested her elbows on her desk, nursing her drink. Both of those things sound awful, honestly. It won't stay this way. I just need to claim her before it gets too bad. She narrowed her eyes at me, concern creeping into her stern face. What happens when it gets too bad? I looked away, unsure of myself. Interesting. Felix? Her voice dropped low, the tone unmistakably threatening. If I find out you do something to hurt this woman... I held up a hand. I'd sooner feed myself to a pack of wild dogs. The thought of anyone hurting my mate made my blood boil. Doing it myself was unthinkable. Not that it mattered. She'd come around. I just had to be patient. Calm. Avoid dairy. Usha leaned back in her chair. Good. Suddenly the door burst open, almost coming off its hinges. My brother, Balabash, ran into the room holding a book. He slammed the door shut, threw himself against the desk. Usha, is it true that human women have a sensitive spot? Oh my fucking god. He was Before she could even react, Dante and Isaac came barreling in after him. Dante dipped his head to avoid scraping his horns on the door frame before shoving past Isaac. Don't forget about the pressure thing. The dragon shifter slammed his hands on the desk, causing Usha to scoot back in her chair. Oh my god. Who gave these guys an anatomy book? Ah! Oh my goodness. But the poor woman looked so tired. She set her drink down and ran a hand down her face. Y'all motherfuckers are getting way too comfortable with me. Dante nodded. Be that as it may, please confirm if this manual is telling the truth. She sighed and held out her hand. Give me the damn book. Oh my goodness. I'll be right back. go and lay down. Come on. Sit. Lay down. Oh. Get down in the center. Okay. Oh. Whoa. Why? That was my glasses. Where the fuck did they go? Found him. You lay down, sir. Bash handed it over, and the trio waited patiently as the captain flipped through its contents. Where did you even get this? Isaac straightened, grinning with pride. I bought it off a traveling merchant that passed through town 2 days ago. He promised it held his secrets to pleasing any human woman. That caught my attention. Before we demons were set free, only a handful of us had hardly ever even seen a woman, let alone gotten the honor of pleasing one. I'd had the occasional dalliance with other men, but the competition for the few demon women around was too much of a bother. I never saw a point in joining the legions of suitors after them if I didn't imprint. But if there was a manual on how to please my mate, I wanted to hear every word. Well, Balavesh fidgeted next to her chair, almost knocking it into the barrels of mead. Usha raised an eyebrow and kept reading. This book knows more about my body than I do. So it's true then, I asked. Sipping her drink, Usha flipped through another page. I can't... I can confirm the spots dictated in the first few pages, but I haven't even tried half of this stuff. She closed the book and handed it back to the orc. Seems like you got your money's worth, from what I can tell. Did all of you imprint too? Isaac spoke up first. We orcs don't imprint. But Ball has his ion of pretty barmaid. I haven't found mine yet. And with so many women in this realm, I want to be ready. And you? She asked Dante. The dragon glowered. No, but like he said, the possibility is no longer a fool's errand. Now that things are mostly settled, I'll set off to find my mate soon. It feels odd saying staying in a... It feels odd staying in another dragon's territory, anyway. The storm dragon must have been burning with jealousy for Fallon. Shadow Dragon was hundreds of years younger than him, but he had already found his mate and claimed to Boohale, and was surrounding and the surrounding bayou as his new territory. It only made sense. Cinnamon's family was all here. Dante would most likely just lay claim to whatever village he found his own woman in. Dragons were simple like that. Hello, hi. Nothing much, just reading a spicy book. Kinda ad-libbing a little bit though for some parts. So it was strange to see the two in the same place for so long. Or see one at all. Before escaping Balsog, Bastion and the rest of our clan lived under the Stone Dragon's territory. In the East Coast region. That time I got drunk and needed a love potion at a werewolf. So more funny haha, but it's still funny. I love it. It's awesome. So should you like to get it yourself, do recommend, or you can... Yep. But in the 27 years we'd been there, I can recall seeing him once. As far as the overlords went, he was completely hands-off, the only rule being to never step foot in the large cave system he called home. Perhaps now that we were no longer held captive by the limited resources of that frozen wasteland, Fallon didn't feel the need to reinforce strict borders. The thought was a strange but pleasant one. Dragon borders were so absolute that maps had to be redrawn anytime one died or was defeated by another. The fact that I was now on a first-name basis with not one but two of the Titan creatures was proof of the dawn of a new era. One where a woman didn't die from Maiva's curse. Let me see that book. Not bothering to hide my excitement, I snatched it from Bash and began reading. Careful, don't scratch it. Isaac's vast form loomed over me, as if I were about to shred the book into tatters. I'm not going to scratch it. Calm down. Dante came up to my side and peered over my shoulder. Flip the page. Oh my goodness. Flip the page. I have questions. I need more female friends, Usha groaned, downing her glass. I shifted from one foot to another and eyed the dragon. Dante, I heard Fallon placed a rune on himself that keeps him from getting sin pregnant. Do you know how to do that too? The silver-haired man furrowed his brow. A Baron rune? Yes, they're easy to conjure. Most dragons keep them on until we want to have children. Oh my goodness. Is it possible for you to give me one? My Bree looked taken aback when I asked how many kids she wanted. Oh my goodness. Usha choked on her meat and shook her head. Yes, Dante said, rolling up his sleeves. We can do it now if you're ready. Sparks ignited from his wrist and danced up the dragon shifter's arms. That looks concerning. How long does it take? He averted his gaze and tilted his head. Just lift up your shirt and it will be over quickly. The uncharacteristically light tone in his voice planted a seed of worry in my gut. How quickly? Just a quick zap and you're done. He advanced a step forward. I took one back. Does it hurt? The hair on the back of my neck stood up as I noticed the corner of his mouth twitch as if he was fighting off a grin. A little, no more than a sting. Just don't look at it. Are you lying to me? Dante paused. The air became thick with tension. Balabash, Isaac, and Usha watched on in silence. No. Alright, I said. Dante's gray eyes took on a sadistic glint, and the grin he'd been hiding came out in full force. It was then I knew that I fucked up. Oh my goodness. Without giving me time to react, the dragon shifter lifted my shirt and jabbed me in the lower gut, just above my right hip. I yelped at the initial shock, but the sharp sting soon faded. I blinked and held a hand to the rune. Well, that wasn't so bad, I said. Burning pain shot from my torso down to my toes. I fell forward onto my knees, screaming. It might be more than a sting, Dante muttered. Oh, you lied, you lying sack of cloud scale. Dante threw back his head and laughed as I rolled on the floor. Chin up, Wolf. It's a rite of passage amongst young dragons, so you should be honored. This honor is ripping through my skin like the poison of a basilisk. You thick warlock of pain. I know, he chuckled. It's heinous. I've never gotten to do it to anyone else before. He turned to Isaac and Balabash. Who's next? The two orcs edged toward the door in fear. Dante crouched forward as if to pounce. Oh, don't be cowards. His tone was mocking. The same threatening grin present. It's a lot less painful than what your woman would go through if you put her through childbirth. You can't expect her to go through worse pain if you yourself can't even offer her this. That's a fair point, I heard Usha say. Get him, Dante! Oh, I love Usha already. Oh my goodness. With the ground, I wrapped my arms around his legs and held tight. Don't listen to him. Run! He tried to lunge at the fleeing men, but fell just short of snatching Isaac by his braids. Dante sighed as the two frantically ran out the door. You're no fun, he said, turning to me. You're evil, I growled. He held out a hand to help me up, and I took it, the pain finally ebbing away. Maybe, but I'm sure your mate will thank me for it. His words mollified my anger a little. If Bree wasn't ready to start a family, then the stress of pregnancy was probably a heavy weight over her head. Well, that was undoubtedly one of the worst pains I'd ever felt. It was over rather quickly. I'm still going to get him back one day, though. Oh my goodness. That whole situation was just funny. Captain, a voice called from outside. There's a group of angry men trying to board the ship. They want to speak with you. It's just one thing after another. Usha muttered and made her way to the deck. I followed close behind, looking for any and all distractions to keep me from running back to Bree's home. And begging her to let me try out the book's suggestions and my new rune. If I was ever going to gain her trust, I at least needed to give her space. As terrible as the concept was, Balabash went forward first and waited near the ship's entry. His intimidating size was enough to keep the gaggle of angry men planted firmly on the deck. On the dock. They scowled and clenched their pitchforks and axes, but none dared to step on the bridge to challenge him. They seemed like a friendly bunch, I said. Usha sighed beside me and placed a hand on my shoulder. I didn't have to turn around to feel the burning glare of Ambrose. To my way. The Lamia was never far from the captain, watching it over to make sure some unfortunate man didn't make the mistake of staring at her too long. Felix, you and Holly are the only other two sane people on the ship, and she's off fucking that hero girl somewhere. Please don't let me lose my temper on these men. Oh my goodness. Feeling mischievous, I threw an arm around her shoulders and smiled at in Ambrose's direction. So long as you keep your bodyguard from tearing off my limbs. Ambrose was a stoic man and hardly ever showed any emotion on his face. Someone who didn't know him well would probably think he'd just been staring off into space. But if you were paying attention, you would notice the way his fingers dug into his palms. Or the way his snake hat coiled just a little tighter into itself, like a viper ready to strike. The brief hints of anger were barely there, but that just made him all the more fun to tease it, and I did it often. So he likes to add fuel to the fire, I see. She threw a look back at him and rolled her eyes. He'll be fine. Taking a deep breath, Usha shook me off and donned a friendly smile. What are you... The floof is causing trouble. Alright. Gentlemen, to what do we owe this pleasure? A balding man with an axe stepped forward. 2 of our women went missing last night. We know it was your damn demons who took them. We will not stand by as you heathens take our woman in the night to boil in your... What? What the... What? Boiling your soups. Hand them over now. A chorus of shouts sounded off behind him. Each of the men shook their pitiful weapons in the air. I doubted it would be much effort for even one of us to take out the lot of them. But we were trying to build a community here, and it wouldn't do to go off killing villagers every time one shook a pitchfork at us. That's ridiculous, Lothar shouted as the Minotaur stomped his way to the side of the ship and snorted. Females are rare and precious. None of us would ever hurt one. But you would take them, a man shouted. That's why you're here, isn't it? There's only one female demon in your crew, so you monsters have set out to take ours. Who went missing? Balabash asked, his face turned ashen as he scanned the dogs. Who's gone? Is it my sunbeam? Cold fear shot down my spine at his words. Could Bree have been taken after I left? I spent this much time trying to keep her away from her that I left her completely undefended. The surrounding voices continued to shout at each other, but they grew farther and farther away as darkness clouded my thoughts. Oh. I left her, and she could be in danger. She could be dead. Usha took my hand in hers and squeezed, grounding me back to reality. She held her head high and addressed the leader of the group. My men would never steal anyone. But you are free to search the ship with me. What are their names? The balding man grinned as if he'd won some sort of prize. Serena and Kitty. Not Bree or Sunbeam. Thank the stars. I turned to Bash, who nodded. As soon as the human men left the ship, we'd check on them both. It was fortunate that Bash had found his mate at the same time as I did. Orcs didn't imprint like werewolves, but they had a certain knowing about them and were fiercely protective. Some males even chose to pursue a woman as a group for better protection. Even if we were separate species, Bash and I were raised together after his father took me in. There was no one in the world I could count on more. We'd help look for the missing woman and destroy whoever thought to harm them in the first place. Bree and Sunbeam are fine. I'm fine. But when the men searched the ship and came up empty-handed, we helped them search the docks. Only to find nothing. We searched Serena's and Kitty's homes and found no trace. Not even my superior nose could trace them anywhere in the village. With each dead end, my nerves became more fried. Worse still, a frantic mother had approached the search party to inform us that her daughter had gone missing. As well, all women were in their 20s, all unmarried, gone without a trace. I'm not fine. A frantic Balabash crashed through the door of Sunbeam's home above her bar. She was livid, but safe. The orc crushed her to him, breathing a sigh of relief, but she swatted at his face. What is wrong with you? She snapped. Sunbeam, my beautiful sunflower. I thought you were taken in the night. The red orc looked near tears as he checked the barmaid for any signs of injury. After explaining the morning's events, the woman called and allowed Bash to search her home for any signs of trouble. What should have been a relief only turned to more fear in my gut. Sunbeam was safe, but was Bree? That was a chapter for sure. Oh my goodness. Okay, I am gonna take a quick break to let the floof outside for a second. And I am gonna stop the music too because I don't want to chance an advertisement playing. So there's that. So BRB. Animate. Feed the drama king before he decides to start drama. Alright. I'm gonna go ahead and go over here. Okay, there's that. Okay, so that's set up for later. But that was a chapter. That was a chapter for sure. Also, Usha is my new favorite character. Freaking love her. That was a chapter for sure. God damn. But that is also very concerning. It is a very concerning chapter. Just like people going missing. Oh no. Glad Sunbeam is okay though. Considering Breach chapter is next, I'm assuming Bree is mostly okay. So, we got that going for us. That was such a funny chapter though. Just like all 4 of the demons being just like, is this true? Can you read the things? Tell us. Oh my goodness. Should I read the next chapter? I don't know. Actually, how many chapters are there? I love how I bought the book and did not check chapters. Okay, like 15. 15 chapters. Do you want to read more? Or... Is it almost 2? Okay. I'm gonna order food real quick. Oh. Alright, the food has been ordered. Yay! What do we want to do in the meantime? Because things don't start, at least I don't think, for another few hours as far as Voop chat goes, so let me double check here. That's one of the nice things about Voop chat though, like they're scheduled events, so you can be just like, oh yay, the things. We may not have one today. I might be thinking of tomorrow. Doesn't mean we can't still do the things though. Alright. In that case, change of plans. Yeah, bud? No, we're not doing that. We're not doing that. Nope. Excuse me. Alright. Let's see. We can boop another day. That's a-okay with me. Not saying I won't do some boop chatting by myself tomorrow anyway. Let's see. What do we want to do here? We could read some more. Yep, we'll read some more. I'm having too much fun. I'm having too much fun. We'll read until food gets here. How's that? I think that's a good idea. Chapter 4. In Bree's perspective. Marriage was a strange beast, or maybe it was just Cinnamon's marriage. Beloved, my friend said, her shoulders slumping in exasperation. You don't grow facial hair. Why am I supposed to shave? Fallon glared at his wife from his spot in the doorway. Their home had been updated with larger frames to accommodate his freakishly tall stature. But he still looked like a giant in the quaint little cottage. The smoke rising from his arms made me concerned for the ancient-looking books in his hands. He was sent to retrieve any books since Ma had on magic. But if he didn't calm down, the task would burn to cinders. We could still go through the motions of it. Your father said it was an important bonding ritual between him and your mother. He turned the book back to him and scanned the pages. I never said it was a nice creation story. There's a reason love potions and any magic specializing in mind-altering effects is strictly banned for our kind. Humans have a natural resistance to magic, so the risks aren't as great for you. But Bree should know what she's gotten into. The effects of the love potion are only going to get worse as the days go on. If he's truly imprinted on top of that, then we'd have no way of telling how bad it's going to get. The man could just drop dead of a heart attack because of the strain. You know, she makes a good point. She does make a good point. Oh my goodness. My stomach twisted into knots. I thought it was bad enough when he broke into my house. Zin and Valen paused from their reading. He what? Zin asked. Valen's tone took on a frosted edge, one that made me sit up a little straighter in fear. Are you alright? Did he hurt you in any way? No, I blurted. Well, it started with him breaking in to bring me home after I fainted on the road home. Then, instead of leaving, he did a bunch of chores and just kind of stayed over. We had breakfast, but I think he had an allergic reaction to the grilled cheese and ran off. But aside from that, nothing bad. I left out the part where I was backed up against my bookshelf by the sexiest man I'd ever seen, as he lamented about not being able to shove. I gotta stop myself with that one. A girl had to have her privacy after all. I fiddled with the ends of my long twists, trying to wrest away the memory. Imagery. You fainted? Are you alright now? Sin asked. I nodded. Some weird gator thing attacked me, but Felix took care of it. Sin let out a breath of relief, then shared a look with her husband. The couple burst into laughter. Fallon tucked away his long black hair that fell in front of his face before clenching it at his side. I'm never going to let him live that down. I can't believe he willingly ate cheese. Sin giggled around her mug. Hey. Snapping gators. The man must have been privy bound the rest of the day. Irritation replaced the word not in my gut. Was I really so intimidating that he couldn't ask for something else? If he knew he was allergic to cheese, then why did he eat it? Fallon regained his composure enough to answer. You could have set a plate of broken glass in front of him and he would have eaten it to please you. He won't be able to help himself until the curse is broken. You'll need to be careful about what you say to him. You two seem awfully calm about this. Shouldn't you be concerned if your friend could drop dead of a heart attack? Or, kill me? I asked. Cinnamon and shrugged. I just get the feeling it's going to work out. Felix is so easygoing and seems like the perfect match for you. Besides, you've always gravitated towards those romance novels. If this isn't fate smacking you in the face, then I don't know what is. She really called out her best friend, being just like, girl. Oh my goodness. Reading choices aside, Fallon cut in. We've caught it this in the early stages. If these books don't have the answer for a removal spell, then you can always just yield to the love potion's demands until the effect wears off. What do you mean? I asked you to sleep with him. The dragon said, as if it were the most obvious thing in the land. It may even wear off after that. I've seen a few spells that were condition-based. That sniveling whelp who bought it wasn't too much help information-wise, so I'm not sure what the full effects are. All he can tell us is that he bought it from a merchant in Doncaster. I can't just fuck him on the off chance it will work. He's under a spell, so that's dubious consent. At best, the thought of it only made me even angrier at Jack. That piece of shit knew exactly what he was doing, and now Felix was paying the price for it. Ooh. My friend patted my shoulder, trying to soothe my apprehension. You're right, Bree. But if it were me and my options were a heart attack or schmexy time, I'd choose schmexy time. Oh my goodness. Try not to dwell on that for now, Fallon said, relaxing into his chair. This book has an entire chapter dedicated to spell removal. When you get him alone, you can try each of them. If they don't work, then come back here until we can plan the next step. I know little about hormonal magic, but our friend Dante might. He's much older than I am and may have more insight. Alone? Goosebumps ran down my arms. You're not coming with me? I don't know a thing about magic. Fallon nodded in sympathy. I know, but this type of magic causes deep emotional strain on the victim, which when the extraction starts, Felix will grow desperate and will most likely view anyone else in the room as a threat to his mate. If he lashes out at either of us, it will put more strain on his heart and could lead to his death. I love how Fallon's just like so nonchalant about all of this. He's just like, yeah, shit could go down. He could die. Oh my goodness. Take good care of him, though. Hey. This dragon. This dragon! I buried my head in my hands. Well, damn. This is just fucking great. The trek back to my farm gave me a chance to sort out my thoughts. Felix and I were strangers, but I wasn't about to let the man keel over because I threw a drink at his head. It wouldn't be my first one-night stand either. Boohale was a great place to live and grow up, but it was slim picking as far as men went. The occasional trip to neighboring towns. Oh my goodness. Was one of the few ways you didn't get desperate enough to settle yourself to the closest boring man without a wife. Or worse, one of those idiot Huckabee boys. Every day would be a never-ending nightmare of fish, misogyny, and bad manners. Several women in Boohale, myself included, had decided we'd rather die alone long ago. I shivered, banishing the thought from my head by focusing instead on the smell of fresh rain. With fall in full swing, all starting over here too. Hey, the timing is impeccable. Small showers often broke out throughout the day. Not that I minded. There was something calming about the sound of wet leaves under your boot. Calming was something I was going to need a lot of. Squeezing the magic book closer to my chest, I tilted my head back and allowed the scent to wash over me. Pumpkins lined the fields at the edge of Sin's property, almost bleeding into mine. Round and fat with seeds, just waiting to be cooked and eaten. Old oak trees curved along the sides of the road, forming a tunnel of wonders set ablaze by red and orange leaves. It stretched on for miles, blocking just enough sun with its foliage to form dancing stars on the cobblestones below. As children, Sin, Cherry, and I would run through them as fast as we could, thinking a portal would open up to take us to some magical place. If I could go back and tell them that I was currently holding a magic book on my way to save a werewolf, they may have passed out from excitement. What I wouldn't give to be that carefree again, where everything was new and exciting, and for the three of us together and safe. Maybe it wasn't too late. Cherry was gone, but the rest of us were still here, and Sin's husband was a fucking dragon. Not only that, but a ship full of magical creatures was currently docked at our port. Most of them were looking to make a home for themselves on our shores. Taking a deep breath, I reminded myself that magic was not only real, but right in front of me, I could do this. I could save Felix one way or another. If the curse lifts and he still thinks I'm his fated maid, then great. Free husband. In time, I think he'll be someone easy to love. If not, well, that might sting a little, but maybe he'll introduce me to his friends. Just be calm, be cool. Don't stare too deeply into his ocean. Into the ocean of his eyes. Oh my goodness. Confidence renewed. I made my way home to wait for him. If what he said was true, then Felix's need to be near me would drag him back to my doorstep soon enough. Yellow roses sprawled against the surrounding oak trees near my farm's entrance. Their mad dash to the sun left no room for competitors in their wake, nearly covering... Oh, I love tripping over my words. Nearly covering the shield's nameplate. Yeah, I'd proudly hung up once I'd bought the land in full from Mr. Hot Pepper. Hold on. There were no roses covering my nameplate. My name was gone. In its place was a freshly carved sign nestled in between roses trimmed in an orderly fashion. Who the fuck is Monet? We are, sweetheart. I twirled around to see Felix looking a little worse for wear. His clothes were crumpled up and smothered with dirt. Dark circles made his eyes look sunken, and yet the same cheery grin still lit up his face. He reached a hand out before tucking it back into his pocket. Felix? Hi, I said, ever the master of words. His grin rose to a full smile. He shifted his weight back and forth before I saw his fist twitch in his pocket. The imagery of an excited dog doing its best not to jump on its master came to mind. I guess I should be grateful he's not in werewolf form this time. So listen, don't be mad, he began, but the words cut off. He gritted his teeth and ran a hand through his hair, the wavy blonde locks almost snagging against his fingers, nostrils flaring. He growled, "Forgive me." Before I could even flinch, Felix crushed me to his chest. Strong arms held me to him like a vice, as if I'd melt away if he didn't hold on tight enough. I shivered as he buried his nose in my hair, inhaling deeply. I tried to lean back and pull away, but stopped when I felt him shaking. "Are you all right?" I asked. "Not in the slightest," he whispered against my temple. "Just let me stay here for a bit. I'll pull myself together in a moment." Relaxing in his hold, I shifted the book to my side so it would stop jabbing me in the gut. Did something happen? Was the magic getting worse? The man looked like he hadn't slept in a week. He didn't answer for a moment, and I waited patiently for his body to stop shaking. 3 women went missing. We've been searching for them all day, and there's no trace. When I didn't find you home, I thought you might be gone too. What? A cold fear splashed through me. This was such a small village. How could no one notice 3 women just vanished? Oh, shush. I see that. Oh my goodness. I squeezed tighter until I felt the rapid beat of his heart against my cheek. "I shouldn't have left you. Felix, I'm fine." "Well, I can't breathe, but I'm fine." His death grip finally loosened at my words, but he kept a hand on the small of my back. Despite my fear of the distressing news, a small, selfish part of me felt happy. No one had ever worried about me like this. Deriving pleasure from his disheveled appearance was undoubtedly sick, and probably said terrible things about my character. Nevertheless, a small bloom of butterflies tickled in my tummy. "Stomp them down, Bree." Do you have any idea why they could have been taken? Taken? I asked. He shook his head. All we could find out was that they were all unmarried and in their 20s. So the men in the village think it could have been a roaming band of demons, but I would have scented them around to the area. Unmarried women in their 20s. The butterflies turned to stone. So as I glanced back at the sign that was no longer my name. Felix scratched the back of his head and looked down sheepishly. "This is where I need you to try not to get mad." "What did you do?" "I may have gone down to the courthouse and registered us as a married couple." I blinked. "How? You shouldn't be able to do that without me. Don't we both need to sign and say vows to a priest or something?" "Well, yes. That's what the clerk said at first." "At first?" I asked, not liking where this was going. "At first," he nodded, "but with the church being burned down, and the economy..." Oh my goodness. "Felix," I said, impatience bleeding into my voice. "Well, it turns out, if you show up with claws, fangs, and 3 orcs, they'll let you do just about anything." His tone lightened, like someone who found a great bargain on fleece at the market. Dizziness made me sway on my feet. "We're married?" "Yes," he said, most hesitant. "Like married?" Felix tilted his head. "Do humans have multiple kinds of marriages?" "I'm married to a man I met no less than 3 days ago. A man who holds up the courthouse with a gaggle of merry fucking horse." I need a drink. I think that would be wise, yes. He guided me down the walkway to our house. My mind was reeling, just focusing on putting one foot in front of the other. Lamb, yes, I asked. I know I've pushed well past all sense of boundaries, but I have one request. Shoot. His gaze drifted to mine, a light pink blush across his face. Can I carry you over the threshold? Aww, that's actually adorable. What a Disney storyline. Sighing, I stopped in front of the door. Fuck it, why not? That's actually really freaking adorable. He's just like, I have one small request, please. That is all I ask. I love this book so much. Just so much. Absolute cinema. Oh, eat shrimp. And sound like a glow stick. I mean, it's Disney, but make it a little on the spicy side. Just a little. I love this book so much, though. I love this book so much. I think I'm having extra fun with it, though, because it's like the first fiction book that my brain has decided to let me read in what feels like millennia. So it's just like, yes, this is so good. Ooh. That was quick. Thank you, Saribot. Like, I just thought and then it was gone. Oh my goodness. Ugh. That was a really cute little chapter, though. Like, he's just like, I did a thing. You are going to be mad. You are going to be mad. But. Oh my goodness. Such a cute chapter. I love it. I love it so much. Oy. Alright. It was. It really was. It was faster than you. Legit though, I just thought it was like, oh. Oh. Oh, wait. Okay. I think. Since my food is gonna be here soon. Hey. I appreciate Saribot. Makes life a little easier on everyone. Okay. I think since I got like 20 minutes since till my food's supposed to be here, I think. Ooh. I think I'm gonna must stop stream here. Thank you for hanging out with me. And yeah. Today was fun. Anyways, I hope everyone has a sublime day. And I hope to see you at the next one. I'm gonna see if I can find someone to read. Let's see. I gotta go first. Who shall we raid? Oh, Sherelle's streaming. Boop. Okay. We're gonna raid Sherelle.